Some more clan battles. We've got AR versus Salvo. Interesting setup. Way many moons ago, I actually used to be in Salvo, and they kicked me out because I would not use their TeamSpeak, because TeamSpeak is terrible and they wouldn't change. And it's kind of how I feel about them personally anyways. I think it kind of worked out for best, but unfortunately in this match our Stalingrad DC'd in the loading screen. So, but we didn't know that because he was DC'd. And then we're like, hey, why isn't this dude moving? Hey man, you gonna move? And then you kind of hear him disconnect from Discord, and you're like, oh no. Because I'm going past the spot where your long-range radar generally sits to protect the cap on this map, somewhere in this region. Most people go to the right side where I'm headed. Some go to the left side. And as the Stalingrad's super important, it's basically a second battleship. And the long-range radar to protect the cap. Against any decent clan, it's basically a loss. Like, you can recover from early deaths. Like, that happens all the time. Obviously, somebody has to pick up the slack. But the Stalingrad is super important, and it's generally the key to some function that you're doing, which is why you have the Stalingrad, which is why the meta completely changed when Wargaming introduced the Stalingrad, because it's such a super important ship. When it's on the map, you have to know where he's at, and you have to be able to focus him down. You have to be able to get him, which is why there's honorees everywhere, because the threat of one Stalingrad means you probably need 2 honorees, which is crazy. So I'm coming around a corner and just hoping to get this Des Moines to see me, and use his radar as I'm going away from him, so that the radar impacts me very little, and he's burned a cooldown. But he doesn't use it because he's just waiting for me to go in the cap, which is fine. But it does mean he spotted, which means that anyone else that can target him could shoot him. Now, if we had a Stalingrad, and that's why Des Moines is back around the corner, so they couldn't get shot with Stalingrad. But we do have 2 cruisers that definitely can see the Des Moines, and he ate a torp. Now, radar obviously wouldn't have spotted the torpedo, but he would have known where I was, and he could have realized the direction that torpedoes might have been coming from. Especially, if you look at my distance, you go, hey, this guy's within the 10-kilometer range right in front of me. This is the area where he could shoot torps where they would hit me. And outside of that, once I move outside the 10-kilometer, then, any torps I fire at that point were pretty useless unless they roll forward. So, yeah. So now he's officially dropped out. I guess the game auto-kicked him from the division.
Engine boost activated.
And it's official. He's gone. So we have no radar in the cap. I'm kind of just firing torpedoes towards my RPF. Well, just outside of it, because I'm assuming he's moving. I'm going to head actually towards my RPF. I'm probably going to get radared. But where the Des Moines positioning is, he probably won't come forward if I can get in there and kill the gearing really quickly. Now, the problem is that our Henri went past the island, which in theory sounds good, except there's 3 ships there. So he's basically set himself up to have to tank 3 ships, and Henri's don't tank. Like, the Moskva should be there, not the Henri. And why the Moskva is border humping, I have no idea.
Torpedoes to starboard.
So generally, I don't fire into smoke to give away my position, but then I was radared, and I went, oh, man, well, it doesn't matter anyways. Stalingrad's gone in, so let's just get this over with. Just shoot around, do some dumb stuff, whatever. It's not going to matter.
The ship is on fire.
And it really has to do more with the fact that clan battles, the timing is so limited.
The ship is on fire.
That because you want to get in as many games as you possibly can. So you really don't want to waste a lot of time in a match that you're going to lose. It's like, you know, if you're losing, go ahead and die. There's no reason to just sail around the map and stretch out the clock, right? So as you know, like I said, it's gonna be hard without the radar. We're not gonna be able to stop the caps. The Moskva and the Henri, they didn't adjust to the fact till way too late when they realized, oh my God, the Stalingrad's not coming back. He's still gone. So, yeah, it was a big mistake on them not coming back to it. Because if they would have come back, if the Moskva would have come back to the cap, and the Henri would have gone into a defensive position, we might have been able to do something, counter them when they attacked, or something. But they continued on as though we had a Stalingrad there, which we didn't. And we gave up the cap, and there was really no counter. There was no way to go get them. The best we could have done was deny. So our Haragumo on the other side did manage to use stealth to push the Zao out of the B area, and he's attempting to cap. However, I mean, the Zao's going to come back in. He knows he can, once he's within a certain range, and the Haragumo is kind of trapped, can really do a lot of damage. Now the Henri should be pushing up to support, using the islands as cover from the Montana to shoot the Zao, but he's not in the correct position.
The enemy is about to win.
So Haragumo's forced to go hide behind the little island there, and the Zao's in the cap. So now Moskva's trying to tank 3 ships. I got bored, so I started talking. Just, you know, hey, our Stalingrad's been AFK. And, of course, you know, they remember me. They know they have the advantage, so they're going to start talking, you know, BS. That's fine. We're down a ship. We beat these guys almost every time we play them. It's kind of one of, like, we don't really notice the clan names, but, you know, when you see a clan that you play with before, it's generally like, hey, let's beat these guys, and then we do almost every time. So anyway, so it's kind of bittersweet to be in a loss, you know. But wait a second, is the Stalingrad moving? I think our Stalingrad's moving. We're down 2 ships. Down 2 caps, down 300 points. I mean, the Stalingrad's good, but I mean, it's really not gonna make. You really can't do that much about it. Now, why our battleship is way over here now all of a sudden, I'm not sure. But he definitely moved over to get in the cap. So, it was kind of a strange move. Am I I never figure out how to do these right. So, as we're looking around from this angle, sorry about that, Montana's shooting back across. He is actually capping at the moment. And Stalingrad's moving up. So they've actually lost 2 ships now. And their advantage doesn't seem that great. As we're getting the second cap, we have one of the nastiest ships around still up. And their Stalingrad is hiding. Now, battleship might get reset here by the gearing, and he does. That sucks. So battleship gets out of the cap, returns fire at the gearing with AP. Not generally smart because the gearing's going to go into smoke, and now he's just going to spam you all day. All right, yeah. Like, I hadn't even realized that the guy was back. I was just kind of watching, sitting there, typing away. But we were in B cap. And if we could get back into B cap and stop him from capping the points, then we could do something. But our Gumo just died. But we got that Stalingrad v Stalingrad murdering over there. And he's down. So they were just 40 points from winning the match with 2 caps. And back down to 80 points winning. So now we have a gearing versus a Montana on one side of the map. Just terrible. And we have an Henri Zhao Stalingrad. And the Zhao didn't know which way to turn. Basically had worst case scenario of crazy angles Stalingrad versus crazy firing rate Henri. And now Montana over here is trying to heal up. Got a decent chunk off for Stalingrad. But combined, these guys have 10,000 hit points. It's not good. So, for some reason, the Henri was given almost flat broadside to Stalingrad. I don't know what that was about. Even if he wanted to torp, he could have torped and easily turned away. He didn't. Why the Stalingrad just took a torpedo there was because he was committed to trying to get as many guns as possible on the Montana, which wasn't necessary. But I think he was feeling rushed because he hadn't been in the game. So now we have this scenario of Montana versus gearing. Why the gearing is so close, not really sure. It's definitely to his disadvantage to be at that range shooting. Because obviously the closer you are to the battleship, the less dispersion it has, the greater amount of shells that are probably going to hit you. So now Montana sees the gearing go dark. Smart player, you turn towards the target, right? But you can't stay stationary because what they'll just do is they'll sail past you. They'll just sail that way and then fire the torps from over there. So as long as you're going forward, all you can do is try to turn into the torps. You could speed up, you could slow down, you could do all kind of things. But the issue is that once he got the cap, should have just taken off. But Thronis tells him, don't turn out, which he'd already done. And now he's dead. Well, literally, once he was about to get the cap, he should have turned right then. Like, he instead of getting caught in that position, should have left and left the gearing alone. Because ultimately, we already had 2 caps because of the Henri. We couldn't have the death, right? Even if the gearing wouldn't took the cap, the death wouldn't have mattered. But if the gearing was smart and was heading right back into the cap right away, which he didn't, like as soon as the torpedoes looked like they were about to kill the Montana, he should have just immediately done closing speed to get into the cap. Because even though we're now only getting points from 2 caps, they're still not getting points. And now the points lead is gone. It's irrelevant what happens. So that is a lesson to me and all players around. Hey, just because somebody DCs, don't give up on the fight. Stretch it out as long as possible. And see if you can, make it work. All right. Thanks. Have a good one.